Hello and welcome to the Well Nourished Kids podcast. Today's podcast, we're talking about something that actually came out of a conversation that I had with Jane recently. And we were talking just about how life's going and work's going. And Jane was saying that she has been seeing a lot of young people in her private practice who are struggling to make friends, struggling to form relationships. I had listened to a podcast that had also done a bit of a social experiment on young people having difficulty in dating situations, being able to have a conversation and actually express their feelings and I suppose give off the right kinds of signals that they were interested in the relationships in this particular experiment that they were discussing. And I thought it would be a really good topic to bring to the podcast because I was certainly interested in getting Jane's take on why this has developed and also what we can do as parents, as the people that are responsible with raising kids to have good relationships with not only themselves and food, but also other humans.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a really good talking point. So tell us, Jane, like why is this happening? I definitely have seen it with some of my own kids' friends who have struggled to express basic desires to me, but to be able to make friends or form relationships is it's sad.
Yeah, it is. And it's been coming, like I'm seeing more and more people, so teenagers, but also people in their 20s and early 30s that are just kind of feeling like something's wrong with them because they're like, I can't make friends and I feel socially awkward. And so they're getting socially anxious, where the thought of being around people is really anxiety provoking.
Sad.
Yeah, yeah. And for me, it's made me think like, why has this started and what's happening? And I guess when you think of phones and how we all use phones now, so phones are kind of a way that we manage comfort and discomfort within ourselves. So when we get uncomfortable, we go to our phone and we start scrolling, we distract ourselves away from the discomfort. And it means that we haven't kind of built the muscle to be with discomfort. And when we're in relationship with anyone, when we meet someone new, when we're around friends, family, there's moments of discomfort. There's moments of, is what I'm going to say be interpreted how I want it to be? Is what I'm doing with my hands going to be okay, or how are they going to think about me? We're social creatures, like it's one of we call it a primary driver to kind of be in relationship. So when we come up against relationship, our nervous system kind of craves that connection, and there's almost pressure to belong. Like as mammals, belonging keeps us safe. So
Survival for a lot of mammals, isn't it?
totally. But what I see is that because we use the phone when we're uncomfortable, and so we kind of, instead of being in the Starbucks line, not that I ever go to Starbucks, but like a cafe line, or, if we're lining up for something, back in the day, and yes, I'm old, before phones, you stood there and you looked around, so you noticed other people's body language, and none of this is conscious, but it's all, our eyes are taking in, our sense organs are taking in information all the time from the people around us, where we've got a felt sense of who's around us. We're kind of watching, we're listening. And that was how it used to be. You sat in a bus stop waiting for somebody, waiting for the bus. Somebody might have sat beside you. You might have had a conversation. You would have at least noticed their social cues. You would have sat there feeling awkward, like, oh gosh, do I talk to this person? Are they going to respond? So you had those feelings of discomfort and you learnt to work through them or be with them.
Yes.
Now, in all of those social situations, we have a phone that takes us away from the discomfort. So we start to feel socially awkward and we just pull the phone out. and we start scrolling and we disconnect from the environment and the world around us. So our brain throughout our life prunes what we don't use, it cuts it away. And so, and especially teenage years, there's a massive pruning of the brain. And as we go through our adult life, what our brain's not using, it prunes and cuts away. And because we're not using these just basic social skills of meeting people, these people that we don't know, meeting people in the street, feeling okay to have eye contact, looking at someone to decide, are you going to go left or am I going to go left? When we're on our phone, we miss all of this. We miss all of our brain misses all of this training in how to be in relationship and how to kind of read social cues, respond to social cues, feel awkward and be okay with it and work through it.
Mm.
I also think social media gives young people this misperception of relationships always being easy, always being flowing, everyone always being happy. On social media, you don't see the moments of misattunement when you say something and nobody laughs, or when you kind of do the odd thing and it's awkward.
Yes.
So I feel like people, or especially young people, don't give themselves a lot of space to make mistakes. And they're so scared of making mistakes that they actually just don't engage. They go, a phone, there's no, you don't have to worry about making a mistake with a phone. And you kind of get a feeling of being connected or joining with something on a phone, but it's just false. So I think there's the lack of awareness around that it's normal to feel awkward, especially in new relationships and with people you're just meeting, and with just being at a cafe or at a bus stop or at a party, and when you don't know people, there's awkwardness. It's normal. And what we used to have to do was to kind of work through that awkwardness and build in curiosity. Who is this person? How do we connect? Like, what is the thing that interest that we kind of share, that we can kind of build a relationship around?
Common ground.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so we need the skills of being able to ask the questions. So for me to get curious about you, and for me to ask questions to kind of build our relationship. I feel like that's missing too, because we are way more narcissistic. We're way more, what can you give me? Or let me tell you about me. We're not so good at asking questions to get curious about the other, and we're definitely not good at listening, at taking the time to listen. We listen to respond rather than listen to understand. So I feel like all those kind of skills we miss through our modern day lifestyle of being able to get a lot of surface level needs met through a phone rather than through how we used to. Like, when you needed something in the past, you had to ask someone, you had to physically make a phone call or have a conversation. Now you just Google it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it makes me feel, this conversation has made me feel sad. I have to be
Oh,
honest. Like, it makes me feel deflated and sad, and also, on the other hand, grateful that my children were raised without devices because they didn't exist. So I
yeah.
can't imagine the pressures that parents who are raising their kids with these devices, because they are addictive. And
Oh,
I know as
it's
an adult,
really on making them addictive, hey?
yeah, 100%. And I know as an adult with a fully formed, mature brain,
Yeah.
I am heavily distracted. And
Yeah.
I try to be really conscious of being distracted. They're almost they're like a
Yeah.
time warp
Yeah.
almost. To, like, as I said, I'm really conscious of how often I connect. Unfortunately, my business relies on me being connected and responding online,
Yeah.
rather than in person.
Yeah.
But it's very easy. I'd be lying to myself and to everyone listening if I said that I got online, connected with my audience how, to the degree that I needed to be connected with them, and then got offline and didn't look at anything outside of my business, because that's not the honest truth. I do get sucked into the warp, into the time warp.
We all do. Yep.
So what do we do? How do we manage this? I mean, as I said, I feel like I'm getting better and better. The more I hear stories like this, the more I'm so adamant. But with my children, like with our children, with our children are who, like, even though our kids, your and my kids weren't raised with phones, now they are 155,000% part of their day-to-day life. So how do we get around this?
Yeah. So I think what I see that gives me hope is I see a lot more people questioning the phone, questioning their relationship with the phone, being shocked that, holy cow, I've been on this device for 4 or 5 hours today, or I've checked my phone over 400 times today. So people getting curious. And I feel like it's like, with smoking and alcohol and all those things, that when they first came out, everyone was like, it's fine, we don't have to worry about it. I feel like phones are the same. I feel like they came out and everyone's kind of gone to the extreme, and I feel like now we're going to kind of find a middle place, because I feel like phones have kind of taken over us and they rule us rather than the other way around. And I feel like and I hear this with my kids, they're starting to, how can I make this work for me, rather than me just be totally dictated to by this device and by being distracted by it. So for me, there's lots of little things you can do. The biggest one as an adult and a parent is modeling, not looking at your phone all the time. So leaving it somewhere, maybe you come in, you leave it at the door, and you're disciplined. So for me, being a small business owner, I used to be, have my phone and be checking things at all hours, whereas now I'm like 9 to 5 and that's it.
Yeah.
And for me, I will so kind of actually making, like you do with your diet or exercise, or you create a routine and a structure, and you have a value, and you have this is what I want for myself.
Yes.
I feel like I've brought that in around phones, and that's been really helpful. So between this time and this time, I'll look at my emails, and out of that time, I'm not going to. And even asking myself, what am I wanting from scrolling through Instagram? Or because I find mostly I'm scrolling through Instagram or Facebook when I need to be doing something I don't want to do, so I'm procrastinating, or I'm bored, or I don't want to be in a situation. So those feelings of discomfort come and I'm reaching for my phone.
Yes.
So being aware of that and going, I'm just going to do the thing. Otherwise, I'll be 3 hours on just scrolling, avoiding this thing that'll take probably 5 minutes and then be done. So I think it's kind of us modeling phone etiquette, or how to have a healthy relationship with the phone.
Yep.
Like for me, I take the Instagram and Facebook, I just take them off my phone. So because they're easy to upload, and so I just take them off. So I've got to go through a process of uploading them. So I take them off. But I also think us as parents modeling being curious about the person in front of you.
Yeah.
Not having a phone on a table, or kind of, so if you're sitting with someone, not having your phone out. I think it was Simon Sinek spoke.
Yes.
There's a great kind of chat about that, how distracting someone's phone is, because our brains know, gosh, there's so much excitement and interest in that phone.
Even face down, I think he was saying, a lot of people think that the social etiquette is it's okay to have your phone there as long as it's face down, whereas that actually it doesn't matter whether it's face down or face up.
Yeah, and I think it's actually bringing into our culture some etiquette around phones. Like we had it before the smartphones came.
Yes.
Like before a smartphone, there's no way you wouldn't reach those old mobile phones, you wouldn't. It was rude to
Yeah,
have it at a dinner table, to have it at a restaurant, or you just. And I think we need to bring that etiquette back in.
yeah. I have heard of like AFL teams going out for like a team dinner kind of thing, and
Yeah,
the coach walking in with a big bucket,
yeah, great.
literally going around the table and making all of the players put their phones in the bucket before the dinner started, which I thought was like just brilliant.
Oh, I think it is, and I think we all need that support, and our kids need that support.
Yeah,
Like it's so maybe at home you have some kind of you talk about right from 6 till 8 is family time, and we're
yeah,
going to have dinner and then go for a walk after dinner, and none of us are going to bring our phones. We're going to survive.
yeah.
We'll survive going for a walk without a phone.
Yeah, it's amazing how it creeps in, though.
Oh,
We've
so
always had no phone at the dinner table.
yeah,
And then, as I said, there's been the occasion where, perhaps I've had like a massive tech drama or something going down, and I'm like actively working my way through it, and
yeah,
it's been across dinner. Nothing upsets me more than that. Like, if you really want to see me rattled, I'm a pretty collected person, but if you really want to see me rattled,
yeah,
that would be the ultimate kind of scenario. But yeah, it's amazing how they can quickly, like we've noticed recently that there's been the odd, or even we're having a conversation about, say, something, haven't you got an appointment with the physio this week? It's like, oh, yeah, I'll just check. And then the phone's at the table because we're checking who's
yeah,
got the appointment. And it's like, oh my God, it's here again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, look, you've given me a bit of hope.
Oh,
This guy,
did you see in Madrid where they had the power outage for, I think it was 12 hours?
right.
And there was all these videos of people playing cards, of people
Yeah,
outside in the park reading
amazing.
books, of
Yeah,
people dancing together. And
yeah,
I feel like we will come back to a balance
I do.
because I talk to different people and they're like, they are coming to it themselves. I need more nature, or
Yeah,
I'm just stuck inside on my screen.
yeah.
And
And
yeah,
like you said, I feel like this next generation are definitely, even though it's something that I think because they've lived without them and they're now living with them, they
yeah,
have a little bit of perspective.
yes,
But like I've seen in my daughter's age group, like in the early 20s,
mm,
one of the reasons I feel really blessed where I live,
yeah,
because there's a real movement in that demographic towards health. And there's even groups, like there's one that start the day every morning down on the beach near where I live.
mm.
And it's a group of young people. They call themselves Cool to Be Conscious.
Oh wow,
And they
nice.
meditate, like there's young guys, there's young girls, they meditate, they exercise together, or they just do circle discussions, like just
So
get together and
nice.
talk. And so I do, yeah, that makes my heart
That
soar.
that's the antidote, hey?
Yes, it really is.
And this is what I'm finding with these clients that are coming, they're craving the connection.
Yes.
And it's so I think that craving and where we're at in our world, like lots of kids not being able to go to school, lots of people with social anxiety and relationship issues. I feel like it's going to push us back to what we need as humans, which is community, connection, nature,
Yeah.
being with others. Yeah,
Yeah. So, as parents, the best thing that a parent of a child of any age can do is
yeah,
just encourage that disconnection, that reconnection with one another, with nature.
yeah.
Um,
Model not being on the phone.
yes, model not being.
Model that being with the person you're talking to is more important than what's happening on a screen.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm.
Thank you. That was
Oh,
a great discussion. I hope anyone that's listening, yeah, finds it. Yeah, as I said, it's amazing how I could have two very different emotions in the course of 20 minutes.
yeah.
One of just hopelessness, and now I'm actually feeling like I'm generally an optimist,
Mm,
and I do feel a lot more optimistic now that
mm,
we've had this discussion. So thank you.
thank you. It's good.